find your lack of faith disturbing.
Welcome to my first ever Nuzlocke, but I will be playing with my personal twist. There are already tons of videos showcasing Nuzlocking challenges, and I've always wanted to try complete one of my own. For those who don't know what a Pokemon Nuzlocke is, on the Nuzlocke community website, Nuzlocke University, trainers have agreed that these 3 basic rules must be used for it to be considered a Nuzlocke challenge. 1. Any Pokemon that faints must be released or boxed permanently. It is considered dead for the rest of the challenge. 2. Only the first wild Pokemon encountered in the route or area can be caught. If the player fails to catch it, i.e. if flees or faints, their opportunity to catch a Pokemon in that area is lost. And 3. The player must nickname all Pokemon they catch or obtain. This is not technically necessary for the challenge run, but is universally accepted as part of the Nuzlocke. There are many more rules you probably have already heard or seen of, and if you really like a good explanation of the history of a Nuzlocke challenge, I would recommend watching WolfeyVGC, as he has an amazing video about it. I will have a link to it in the description below if you would like to watch it, which I highly recommend. So, what is my twist or optional rule? To be honest, because I'm a youngster level Pokemon trainer, I decided to keep it super easy for myself and not do a hardcore Nuzlocke. If you were to give a difficulty rating out of 5, my Nuzlocke would be a 1 out of 5. So my one optional rule is that the starter Pokemon are completely randomized, and I want to keep the spirit of the Pokemon growth, so then these random starters will also have a 3-stage evolution just like the starters. You will soon see if you're still not sure what I mean. So with that being said, I like to call this off-brand Nuzlocke as Dewlocke because my name is Dewey, and begin the challenge. After talking with Professor Oak, we will choose our starter, and here you'll see what I mean by keeping the spirit of the Pokemon growth. From left to right, the first Pokemon is Abra, second is Dratini, and third is Squirtle. I will explain in a bit, but I chose Dratini as my starter, named it Starter, and my rival chose Squirtle, since originally the middle is Squirtle and the right side is Bulbasaur. To give myself more time to explain, I will say that I do win this battle, and I want to explain is why I chose Dratini, or rather, why I didn't choose the other starters. Simply, I didn't want Squirtle because it's not a new Pokemon, or a different Pokemon. And I didn't want Abra because the only move Abra knows at this level is Teleport, which does nothing. And that I would have to switch train to level it up. Yes, I know Alakazam is overpowered in Gen 1, which I thought might be too easy since the challenge difficulty is already easy enough. So, I should at least give myself some sort of struggle. After defeating my rival, I get the town map from his sister, get the parcel from the Viridian City Mart, give the parcel to Professor Oak and get the Pokédex, go back to Viridian City Mart to buy Pokeballs, to catch my very first Pokemon Pidgey on Route 1 and named it Route A. Before I continue the rest of the video, I want to show and explain why I'm naming my Pokemon this way. I'm not sure if you haven't noticed yet, in the game keyboard, for whatever reason, it doesn't have numbers. To keep track of which Pokemon I caught as well as from where I caught them, I would love to have at least rename them to route number where I caught my Pokemon, including towns, but I can't. To somewhat be organized, I use what is called the alphabet number code, where the first letter, being A, is number 1, B is 2, C is 3, so on and so on. Also, since it being a very old game, that stat info menu doesn't show where the Pokemon was caught, like how in current Pokemon games are. So for the rest of the video, I will be saying the route number where I catch each Pokemon and name it to the corresponding letter unless I get them elsewhere, such as cities or caves. Back to the video, I catch another Pidgey on Route 2, catch Rattata on Route 22, and Wheel in Viridian Forest. Ideally, if I can, I would like to catch every Pokemon that is available before attempting the upcoming gym leader, and these 4 are the only areas available before the first gym leader, Brock. But after naming my Weedle, I realized something terrible. The problem is that I didn't have a potion. I only had the town map and Pokeballs. As you can see, here my starter Dratini is poisoned with 5 HP. So why not just go heal to the Pokemon Center? Well, let's see where I'm standing. How can I not even have a single potion? Why didn't I just buy 1 potion when I bought the Pokeballs? This is why I'm a youngster level trainer. At this point, I'm contemplating to restart the entire run or continue without Dratini. To me though, I say the run is over when all my Pokemon faint and I black out to the Pokemon Center. So, I decided to continue this run and losing out on what could have been a hardship-felt run with Dratini being in the slow leveling group. In the box, Dratini goes. And the grind begins with Weedle evolving to Kakuna, and shortly after Kakuna evolves to Beedrill. After much grinding, I battle the first gym leader Brock and his rock-type Pokemons. He of course sends out his Geodude, and I send out my Beedrill. As you can see, Beedrill's level 18 so that I can make sure that my type disadvantage can somewhat do some damage. I start with Focus Energy, hoping to increase my crit chance, which I actually don't know if it actually does or not. Geodude, I believe, only knows 2 moves, Tackle and Defense Curl. Now that I know ground types resist poison types, but they can still be poisoned, so I spam Poison Sting. After finally realizing Geodude getting poisoned, Brock retroactively uses a full heal, and it reminded me that for whatever Gen 1 reason, Brock has unlimited full heals, so there's no point in trying to poison Geodude. So now, my next strategy is to spray and pray with Fury Attack, hoping I get crits, bypassing his defense boost. While this battle plays out, I would like to use this time to mention a few things I've said you're not already familiar with, but in Gen 1, specifically Red and Blue. If you already know, then I ask you to bear with me as I explain to the viewers who may not know. I'll explain more throughout the video, but one of the many things I want to explain is about my fainted Dratini being in the slow leveling group. In traditional Pokemon games, all Pokemon are organized and categorized in one of many ways, but one is called level up groups. To simply put it, I would sum it into 3 groups, which dictates the pace of the experience each Pokemon gains. For example, Weedle is in the fast leveling up group, Pidgey is in the medium leveling group, and Dratini is in the slow leveling group, each requiring a different amount of EXP to reach to the next level. The only reason why this is a thing because we're balancing so that you don't get a super strong Pokemon early on the game. For now, focusing back into the battle, Geodude is knocked out and Brock Onix is out. I've made some sacrifices letting my Pidgey from Route 1 and Rattata from Route 22 to faint in order to weaken Onix, but rewatching the footage, I probably didn't need to do that. Anyway, that was a misplay by me, and I finish off Onix with my second level 10 Pidgey and obtain the Boulder Badge. Moving on with the game, I catch another Pidgey on Route 3, and deciding which Pokemon I want on Route 4, I decided to talk to this guy in the Pokemon Center before Mount Moon and buy a Wimpy Fish for 500 Pokédollars, which will evolve into an amazing Pokemon. I also name it accordingly. For my Mount Moon encounter, I catch a Zubat. While making my exit of Mount Moon, at level 18, Pidgey evolves into Pidgeotto, and grab the cooler fossil before fighting Rival 2. The battle with Rival 2, I lead with Magikarp and switch train into Pidgeotto. With a few Gust and Quick Attack, Rival's 2 Pidgeotto is knocked out and he sends out his Abra. Since I know Abra only knows Teleport at this point of the game, this gives me the opportunity to safely switch in Magikarp to gain some EXP, and then switch to Beedrill to finish off the rest of Rival's 2 Pokemon. Poison Sting for Abra and Rattata. Lastly, Twin Needle and Fury Attack to finish off his Wartortle. There are 2 more Pokemons I can catch in the surrounding area, Oddish on Route 24, and another Weedle on Route 25. Before I went to battle the second gym leader, Misty, I need to level up some of my Pokemons. While training, it gets boring to see the same thing over and over again, so I was watching a video on the side, not paying attention, and losing my Magikarp. But what could have been a giant of a Gyarados, the game must go on, and then challenged second gym leader Misty and her water-type Pokemon. With the newly added Oddish, I'll lead with it, as Misty leads with Staryu. After taking down Staryu, Misty's final Pokemon Starmie comes out. You can tell how unaware I am of the risk of losing my Pokemon because I know Starmie will go down to Poison, but I forget to consider that Starmie could have crit, knocking out my Oddish. Again, by the grace of God, Starmie doesn't crit, and I defeat Misty, obtaining the Cascade badge. And with that, let's add some more Pokemon to the list, starting with Mankey on Route 5, another Pidgey on Route 6, and of course in Diglett's cave, I get not a Diglett because I knock it out with a crit. Not great. What is great is Oddish evolves into Gloom at level 21, and on Route 11, I add Drowsy to the team. Using my only Dig TM that I give to Mankey, training it to increase its level so it can handle the next gym leader. However, I don't one-shot Magnemite, and my Mankey is knocked out. So much for Mankey being a physical fighting type, and I was looking forward to evolving it into a Primate. I challenged Rival 3, but forgot to slow down the footage to do a play-by-play. But it was an easy fight, that there wasn't anything worth mentioning. Got the HM1 cut from the Bolt Captain, trained a little bit, and went straight to challenge the third gym leader, Lieutenant Surge, and his electric Pokemon. I lead with my latest member, Drowsy, and Surge leads with his Voltorb. Voltorb is faster, using Screech, and my Drowsy uses Body Slam, which does less than a quarter of its HP. Realizing after, I'm 4 levels lower. Thankfully, Voltorb didn't attack until the last hit, it is knocked out. Next, Surge's Pikachu comes out, and easily knock out Pikachu with 2 confusion, but got paralyzed before I went down. Drowsy being a psychic type, I should have enough special stat to take 1 hit. No worries, I'll try and put it to sleep again. But Raichu uses Thunderbolt, and my Drowsy faints. I got greedy, and my inexperience shows, losing a potentially strong Pokemon. Now I just want to get the battle over with and take my frustration with my ace Beedrill, knocking Raichu out with 2 Twin Needles, obtaining the Thunder badge. More routes opened up, and I catch Ekans on Route 9. My Rock Tunnel Pokemon is another Zubat. Not too long after, my Ekans evolves into Arbok at level 22, only after to catch another Ekans on Route 8, and another Oddish on Route 7. After a fun spin under the game corner, I battle the villain of the game, Giovanni. This won't be the last time I battle him, so I'll cover some more explanation. Here I'll explain one of the rules from my Nuzlocke run. To recap the 3 main Nuzlocke rules. 1. Once a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead for the rest of the game. 2. Only the first encountered Pokemon of each route can be caught, and if it's knocked out, that is it. And 3. You must nickname your Pokemon. Besides the starter being a random 3-stage Pokemon making it my unique Dewlocke, in terms of leveling, I am on team no hacked-in rare candies. Because grinding is truly part of the experience, you still could lose your Pokemon from wild encounters, which is part of the authenticity of the first rule. Therefore, any hacked-in rare candies to save time of training ruins the Nuzlocke experience. Think about this. What is the point of hacking in rare candies to make it easier when the point of the challenge is to make it difficult? Anyways, I'm sure you'll know what the correct answer is. After Giovanni, I go straight to the 4th gym leader, Erica, and her grass-type Pokemons. I lead with my newly evolved Arbok, and Erica leads with her Victory Bell. Victory Bell is a fairly fast Pokemon, so I want to slow it down by paralyzing it with Glare, which I'm surprised that my Arbok outsped Victory Bell while it uses Wrap, but misses. Now that it's paralyzed, I switch to Beedrill and sweep all her Pokemons with Twin Needle, obtaining the Rainbow badge. With this extra time, I'll go quickly mention about the item use during battles. The rule of not using items in battles is another popular optional rule and used in many kinds of challenges. And to consider the Dewlocke as an easy difficulty, I do use items in battle. You may have noticed, based on my performance, I allowed myself to use items during battles. Again, because I'm not the greatest trainer, and the challenge is supposed to be an easy difficulty. With the Silph Scope from Giovanni, my encounter in Lavender Town Pokemon Tower is Ghastly. Very shortly after, while reaching to the top of the Pokemon Tower to save Mr. Fuji, Ghastly evolves into Haunter at level 25. After getting the Pokeflute from Mr. Fuji, I use it to catch Snorlax for my Route 12 encounter. Once I got the Super Rod from the fisherman inside a house on Route 12, I head back to Route 10 to hopefully get a Slowpoke, but I get a Poliwhirl instead. I try again at Celadon City. I want Slowpoke because even though both Slowpoke and Poliwhirl can learn 2 important HMs Surf and Strength, Slowpoke is the better Surf user in battles while also knowing what is arguably the best move in Gen 1 games, Psychic. However, the encounter again is Poliwhirl, and I accidentally knock it out. From Lavender Town to Fuchsia City, my encounter for Route 13 is one more Pidgey, which I knock it out. Finally, my Pidgeotto evolves into Pidgeot at level 36. Hopefully, at this point of the video, you're not surprised how terrible I am. As you can see, I risk training one of my new Pokemon Snorlax, only to lose it. More to come. And catch my last Oddish encounter on Route 14. In Fuchsia City, I use the Super Rod to not get up Slowpoke, but Seeking. My last hope and last location of obtaining Slowpoke, I finally get it in the Safari Zone. Here I broke a rule, but I will discuss about it at a later moment. And I do get the HM Surf and Gold Teeth to exchange for HM Strength. At the adjacent routes from Fuchsia City, I catch Venonat on Route 15 and Furo on Route 18. Well now, more to come has have come. I want to increase my party level average before challenging the next gym leader. Even though my Slowpoke is a good amount of levels above higher than the Wild Ghastly, you could say it's bad luck, but to be honest, it's only my negligence that Slowpoke fainted. This loss hurt me the most, only after losing my starter Dratini. The losses don't stop there. I also lose my Poliwhirl while training. Man, I really need to work on improving my risk management or safety protocol so that I'm more aware and make safer decisions. So then, about breaking a rule. I caught both Slowpoke and Seeking inside Fuchsia City, and I didn't end up using Seeking this run. So if you the viewers can forgive me with this instance and still consider this run legible, then I would like to say thank you for watching this far. Now, to get a reliable Surfing Pokemon, my last Super Rod encounter is Shelter on Route 19. Okay, I want to talk about trade evolution Pokemons. Pokemon such as Haunter, Graveler, Kadabra, and Machoke. I personally would love to experience all final evolutions of Pokemon in any game, but when playing as an offline solo run and the only way is to get it through trading with another game, I feel like I'm missing out. Out of the Gen 1 trade-only evolution Pokemon, my personal favorite is Golem, simply because of how little you see it in-game. With that being said, because I want to experience these trade evolution Pokemons, I use the tool to allow trade evolutions Pokemon to evolve through leveling up instead. In this clip, you will see that Haunter evolves into Gengar at level 37, which I would say at a reasonable level because it's closely similar enough to the actual starter Pokemon. I'm not sure if you remember one of the starters being Abra, but if I chose Abra, I would have Alakazam by now. However, again, I didn't want to deal with training it early on. Who knows, could have been worth the time investment. I think what could be one of your favorite Pokemon be locked behind a trade doesn't sound fun. Anyways, I was debating myself if I should allow trade evolutions to evolve via levels, and concluded to allow it, but let me know what you guys think. Leveling up on my Pokemons level 45, I head to battle the 5th gym leader Koga and his poison type Pokemons. I lead with my ace Beedrill and Koga leads with his Coughing. The reason I lead with Beedrill is because Gen 1 games is somewhat broken. What I mean by broken is that I can only assume in the type chart bug types and poison types are super effective against each other. Again, I can only assume in real life it could go both ways, but in later games they changed it. I'm not going to explain everything exactly, but I'll have an image up on the screen so you can pause the video and read it. Back to the battle, I spam Pin Missile, taking down his 2 Coughings and Muck. his last Pokemon wheezing, and not wanting my VGO to get knocked out by a self-destruct, I switched to Gengar because self-destruct is a normal type and ghost type is immune. But after me being annoying, confusing, and putting Weezing to sleep, I easily defeat Koga and obtain the Soul Badge. You can see here I'm encountering another Snorlax on Route 16, and I do catch it, but because I lost my first Snorlax so quickly that I decided to get this second one and take it with me to beat the game. Yeah, I forgot Snorlax is slow, and lose my second Snorlax right after. I wanted to add this clip into the video because while I lost my Snorlax training on Cycling Road, I randomly decided to talk to the signs. I just finally learned after 20 years since release, I can hold down the A or B button on Cycling Road and I stop automatically moving. Here you can see me read the sign, and I just find it surprising that I only found out about it now. I probably heard about it sometimes throughout my life, but it haven't stuck to me till now. Anyways, back to progressing to the game, we have a few things to do in Saffron City. In the South Goal headquarters, first major battle is Rival 5, and he gets a huge upgrade in his team compared to Lavender Town, so it's a little intimidating. I lead with my Shellder, and he leads with his fully evolved Pidgeot, because Ice types is super effective against flying types. I only want to go over Pidgeot's battle because I want to explain something called the Badge Boost Glitch. My first couple turns I use Withdraw to increase my defense, but it also activates the Badge Boost Glitch, that in a bit, and knock out Pidgeot with 2 Aura Beams and Clamp. So, what is the Badge Boost Glitch? I believe in all Pokemon games, whenever you get a badge, you get extra stats in battle depending on which badge you've already obtained. However, only in Gen 1, whenever your Pokemon's stats change in battle, whether it goes up or down by moves, it will always increase that specific badge stat. For example, the first Boulder badge increases the attack stat by around 12%. Now if an enemy would use Leer that lowers your defenses, you would still get attack stat boost increase. It can technically be infinite since in Gen 1, enemy Pokemon have unlimited power points, which is fixed in Gen 2, but you could one-shot anything. So because I use Withdraw and Shoulder, it not only increases my defenses, but also my attack stat, allowing me to stay in battle longer, also healing in between. The Badge Boost glitch can reset simply if your Pokemon levels up during battle. I learned this from watching JRose11's Gen 1 Solo Pokemon Challenge. I enjoy watching his videos, and that is serious. If you don't know or haven't seen his videos yet, I recommend checking out his channel. I'll put a link in the description because he also has a better explanation than I do. And of course, you could always search it up on the internet for a more detailed explanation. After defeating Rival 5, this guy gives me a free Lapras, which I will be using. Because I decided to choose Lapras as my Pokemon for this city, I skip out on the fighting Pokemons from the fighting dojo. Now for the second battle against Giovanni, also known as Giovanni 2. Usually with important or major battles, I like to show them on real-time speed, but I'm just a forgetful person. However, I think me showing the sped up battle is fine in this case because he's somewhat a pushover at this point. I love playing Pokemon games, and the fact I was progressing and I was simply enjoying my time, forgetting I was recording to make this video. Once I defeated Giovanni, I discovered this computer is also a PC like the ones in the Pokemon Center. Kept it in video because I thought it was cool. Working my way to the next gym leader, I didn't evolve Shellder yet because at level 50, it learns Ice Beam. Closer doesn't learn Ice Beam in Gen 1 games, so once I got Ice Beam, I immediately evolved Shellder with a Water Stone. In later games, all this changes. And now the last thing I need to do in Saffron City is defeat the 6th gym leader, Sabrina, and her Psychic type Pokemons. I lead with Gengar and she leads with Kadabra. Because this is Generation 1, Psychic types is the most strongest type, which means Sabrina is one of the most difficult gym leaders in history. So Ghost types are super effective against Psychic types, but because Gengar is also a Poison type, Sabrina can still do super effective damage to Gengar. Gengar should come on top of any Psychic Pokemon, but for whatever reason, the only strong Ghost type attacking move does a fixed amount of damage, so it can't even one-shot tougher opponents. Anyways, not taking away the fact that Gengar is still an extremely strong Pokemon because it has a high speed and special stat, using any special attacking move should get the job done. But here and now, not wanting to risk being one-shot critted, losing a strong Pokemon, I switched to Closer to take on Sabrina. I quickly also need to mention about the duplicate Pokemon rule, which I should have done earlier. Some players do this rule to give themselves a more diverse team, and in this run, I don't do this rule. The reason I didn't impose the duplicate rule is because since this is the very first generation, there isn't a lot of different kinds of Pokemon yet. And to have enough for each route to be unique, I don't think it's possible. But for now, I will have duplicate Pokemons. And at the end of this battle, with a couple heals, Closer sweeps Sabrina's team and obtain the Marsh badge. In this clip, I check which route I'm in because I don't remember if I accidentally knocked out one of my first encounter on Route 20, which would have been a Tentacool. But on the way to Seafoam Island, I didn't even know how this makes sense, but a Mankey appeared. I was so confused and I wanted to show it, but I caught it anyways if that were my first encounter. But whether it was Tentacool or Mankey, I didn't end up using them for this run, so hopefully I'm still in the confines of the challenge. Now that I'm inside Seafoam Island, I know that one of the legendary bird Pokemon Articuno resides in the cave, and I want it on my team. I use Repels so that Articuno will be my first encounter, and I catch it. However, I gave it some thought. I caught Articuno before I ended my day, then the next time I continued to play the game, I ultimately decided not to use it. For the same reason I didn't want to hack in rare candies, the point was to play the game and make it difficult for myself, so no legendary Pokemons ever. And before battling the 7th gym leader, I catch a Ponyta in the Pokemon Mansion on Cinnabar Island. Okay, let's jump straight into the battle with the 7th gym leader Blaine and his Fire-type Pokemons. I leave with Lapras and he lives with Growlithe. The only reason I chose Lapras instead of Cloyster is simply because I wanted Lapras to gain more EXP. Against Growlithe, I one-shot it with Surf. Next is Ponyta, and it outspeeds my Lapras using Fire Spin. It traps me for 2 turns, then it missed, and I one-shot it with Surf. Not sure if the crit mattered. Next is Rapidash. Retroactively uses Super Potion, so it does nothing to Lapras, so I plan to slow it down with Confuse Ray. Rapidash is now confused, hits itself in confusion, and Lapras almost knocking it out with Surf. With only a few HP left, Lapras knocks out Rapidash with Body Slam. Last is Blaine's ace Arcanine. Arcanine uses the weaker fire move Ember, doing little to Lapras. And same against Rapidash, I use Confuse Ray to slow down Arcanine. Arcanine hits itself from confusion as I go for Body Slam instead of Surf. I went for Body Slam because I wanted to take a chance that it can paralyze Arcanine, and it does! With Arcanine paralyzed, I go for Surf, taking it down to less than a quarter HP, but it snaps out of confusion and it goes for a big Fire Blast, almost taking out my Lapras. My goodness, not wanting to risk losing a speed tie, I went straight to heal Lapras with the Hyper Potion. And thankfully, it went for Ember, but it crits! I would have definitely lost Lapras there if it were a speed tie. And Surf would be enough to knock out Arcanine, but Blaine doesn't heal, and I do knock out Arcanine, and thus obtaining the Volcano badge. Not much to do before battling the last gym leader, but I do catch a Tangela for my Route 21 encounter. I reached level 52 with the Bloom to learn the move Solar Beam, which Bioplume doesn't learn. And now, I can finally evolve my Gloom to Bioplume with the Leaf Stone. The last gym leader, which is the last Giovanni battle with his ground-type Pokemons. I lead with Lapras and he leads with Rhyhorn. Again, leading Lapras to gain more EXP so he can catch up to the other level 50 Pokemons. Lapras uses Surf and one-shots Rhyhorn. Next is Dugtrio, and I decided to use Strength because how little HP Dugtrio has. But I didn't knock it out. Anticipating a heal from Giovanni, I selected Surf, but Dugtrio uses Dig and I miss. But after Dugtrio comes back up, I finish it off with Strength again. Next is Nidoqueen, and not wanting to faint, I use Hyper Potion as Queen uses Scratch, doing very little. Nidoqueen is faster, barely doing any damage with his own Body Slam, and Lapras used Surf, not even getting Nidoqueen to red. But this next turn is the same as before, and Nidoqueen goes down. Next Pokemon is Nidoking, and same as Queen, when she comes out, I heal Lapras. Nidoking is also faster than Lapras, hitting it with Thrash, and Lapras uses Ice Beam, just barely knocking it out, leaving it with 1 HP. For whatever reason, Giovanni uses Guard Spec item, which did nothing, and I finish it off with Strength. His last Pokemon Rhydon comes out, and I one-shot it with Surf, defeating Giovanni, obtaining the Earth Badge. With no delay, I battle Rival 6, so I can reach to the Indigo Plateau as soon as possible. I lead with Lapras, and he leads with Pidgeot. Lapras is pretty underleveled, but without taking any damage, Lapras uses Ice Beam and Strength to take down Pidgeot. Next is Rhyhorn, and of course Lapras one-shots with Surf. Here comes Gyarados, and with a few Ice Beams, it goes down. Growlithe comes out, only to be one-shot by Surf. Wow, Lapras is doing quick work against Rival 6 considering how underleveled it is. This is great. Let's keep the ball rolling. Alakazam comes out, and Lapras could knock it out with a physical move like Body Slam, unless it gets a crit. No, Lapras would have been so good for the Elite Four. It was having such an amazing run since I got it. Such a bad loss. Now I'm scared, because not only Alakazam is strong, but it's also fast. I can only send out my Pidgeot that can do good amount of physical damage to Alakazam since Alakazam went for Recover. I'll take it. What I want to do is badge boost and not just outspeed with agility. I go for a second agility, but uh-oh. Alakazam went for reflect, reducing any physical attacks it takes. Time for action. I outspeed and go for wing attack to test how much damage I do. Only a little. I'm in trouble. Side beam, please don't crit. Okay, no crit. But the confusion! Wow! Okay, let's do some serious damage with Fly. But Pidgeot hits itself from being confused, and Alakazam uses Reflect, thank God! Let's try again with Fly. Yes, I'm not confused. Wow, by the grace of God. Fly hits, but only did half HP, and Alakazam goes for Recover. Please stop toying with me. He healed about the same amount I did to it. Just had to keep at it with Fly, and wow, only brought Alakazam to half HP, and oh my god. Psychic, please don't crit. No crit, but wow, a crit would have knocked out Pidgeot. I heal the max potion, so if it does go for a crit, I can survive, but another Psychic, my heart can't take it anymore, please don't one shot. No crit, but special stat drop. This is so scary. I don't know what to do. Should I switch? I'm checking stats to see if anyone can stand a hit from Psychic, and I chose Cloyster, so let's see how much it does. But a Gen 1 miss! Yes! God is good! Oh, come on, Recover, this thing does not want to go down. Let's see how much Spike Cannon does to Alakazam. And it does nothing. Okay, let's badge boost by using Withdraw to get some special and speed. It recovers, okay, whatever. It still outspeeds me. And how much does Psychic do? Wow, half HP. Second Withdraw. Not taking a risk, I heal Cloyster, and thankfully it went for Reflect, so I stay at full HP. Third Withdraw, but yes, this time I outspeed. It goes for Side Beam, which shouldn't do too much, but it did a quarter of my HP, and I didn't like that, and Cloyster is confused. What is this? Alakazam is giving me so much trouble, I ain't risking losing Cloyster. I heal it to full HP, and another Side Beam. Okay, fine. I need more badge boost, so I use Withdraw again, and here comes Psychic. Please don't crit. Okay, no crit. I get to live another time, again, not taking any chance. I full restore Cloyster back to full HP. And it's Psychic, holy moly, give me a break. At least it only does a third of my HP now. Let's go for another Withdraw, this being my fourth, and it went for Recover. Awesome. Finally, broke out of confusion and got my fifth Withdraw. Maybe I'll go for a 6. Yes, it went for Recover again. No 6 Withdraw, let's just go and try and knock it out with Spike Cannon and hope it's a 5 hit. Yes, it is a 5 hit, but it wasn't enough, and it goes for Side Beam, bringing Cloyster just under half HP. And now, I finally knock out Alakazam. What an excruciating battle for me. I had to use up to 6 potions just to keep my Pokemon alive. At least that terror is over for now. Level 6, last Pokemon is Blastoise, but this should be easy for Cloyster, especially after all those badge boosts. I heal up closer, just in case Blastoise has something that I wouldn't be anticipating, but Bite didn't do too much with that crit. Ice Beam and Surf also wouldn't do too much damage to Blastoise, so let's see how much Spike Cannon does. Yeah, with that amount, this might take a while. Uh-oh, Blastoise used a 2-turn move, Skull Bash. Hopefully, with all the defense boosts, Cloyster shouldn't take a lot of damage. Okay, let's use Spike Cannon again. Oh, a crit, which means the rest of the hits will also be crits. Wait, is it gonna be a 5-hit? Wait, is Cloyster gonna knock out Blastoise? No, it survives with 1 HP, so close! And yeah, Skull Bash does no damage. But finally, with one more hit, we finally defeat Rival 6. Let me quickly go over the last 2 catches in the game, this one being Ditto on Route 23, and Machop in Victory Road. Wow, I need a breather from that battle cause that was stressful. But it's probably because how inexperienced I am. Now with everything finally out of the way, the only thing left to do is the Elite Four. Because how traumatized I was from the Rival 6 battle and losing Lapras, I leveled up all my Pokemons to level 60. I know the level of Pokemons in the final battle are a little over level 60, but it won't matter because how unfair Gengar is, so I'm not too worried. While training for my Pokemon, I tried a few spots for the best EXP, and the last one kinda surprised me. My first thought is that Victory Road is right before the Elite Four. It should be where the highest level Pokemons are, which means more EXP. But it doesn't because all I have been experiencing is high level Onixes, and about 10 levels lower Geodudes, Zubats, and Machops. So even though my Pokemon can take down the Onixes, it wasn't consistent enough and not worth the time to stay. Next, I tried on Route 18, the small grass patch west of Fuchsia City. There has a chance of an evolved Fearow encounter that gave around 600 EXP, and the lowest around 180 EXP from Spearows. I know this because I spent a good amount of time there before. But because they are somewhat low level and just simply the range of experience I was gaining, 200 to 600 EXP, I knew I was going to dread it. So not knowing else what to do, I did the obvious. Not so obvious for me, and looked it up on the internet. Shocker. With that, I am so grateful because I would have never figured it out unless I spent maybe an extra week searching for this training spot. On the same Nuzlocke website, which if I haven't mentioned yet, I'll also have the link in the description. There are tips on how you could go on about playing the game when doing Nuzlocke challenges. Of course, in any form of game, there is a grind. And on Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow page, it quickly explains that the Pokemon Mansion is the ideal spot to train. The Pokemon Mansion, located on Timber Island, the average amount of EXP you would get around is 600, which is amazing. Training all my Pokemon to level 60 went by fast in real time. I'm not too concerned about in-game time, as this is my first run challenge and I'm still learning. Before going to the Elite Four, I clear and organize my items, as well as checking any TMs I should use. So, my team that will be going against the Elite Four is my Ace Beedrill, Overpowered Gengar, All Reliable Pidgeot, Fire Bloom, Cloyster, and newly caught Machop from Victory Road, which I evolved to Machamp. I entered the room. There's no going back. And I'm confident that my training is more than enough to take on the Elite Four. First Elite Four member is Lorelei and her Ice-type Pokemon. She's more of a Water-type trainer, so I lead with Gengar and she leads with Dewgong. This will be an easy sweep because I made Gengar learn Thunderbolt when it was still a hunter. Thunderbolt one-shots Dewgong. Next is her own Cloyster, which easily goes down in one shot because of its low special. Next is her Slowbro, that is also one shot. Next is Jinx, and Thunderbolt does not one shot. I pause here because, to be honest, I genuinely was surprised it didn't one shot. but no worries, another Nuzlocke will take it out. Lorelei's last Pokemon, her ace, is her very own Lapras. Rest in peace, Saffron City Lapras. Gengar used Thunderbolt and one-shots Lapras with the crit. I think the crit did matter there, or else it might have taken 2 hits, but I'll take the win, defeating the first member, Lorelei. Second Elite Four member is Bruno and his fighting types Pokemon. I lead with Beedrill and he leads with Onix. Even though I have a water and grass type Pokemon, I sent out Beedrill here because he's my favorite Pokemon on the team and wanted to give him some screen time. And to allow Beedrill to do any sort of damage, I made it learn Mega Drain. I set up Badge Boost with Agility 3 times, maxing out my Speed stat boost, and then using Mega Drain to knock out Onix. Next is Hitmonchan. I used Pin Missile, which did like no damage. I don't use enough bug and fighting types to know that fighting resists bug, so when I saw how little I did, I said to myself, oh. It was nice to hit 4 times though. Hitmonchan used Ice Punch and that also did like no damage. Seeing how little Pin Missile did, the next best move would be Cut, but that only did half of Hitmonchan's HP. And oh my god, he uses counter, please survive Beedrill! Oh wow, I lived. I was so scared because Beedrill did half its HP and it would counter full HP damage back to me. Now I can take down Hitmonchan with one last cut. Next Pokemon is Hitmonlee. Wanting to keep Beedrill in battle, I use a Hyper Potion. For some reason Bruno used X Defend, but we'll see if that made a difference or not as I go for Cut. Dealing a quarter of its HP, and Lee went for Mega Kick, which also did about a quarter to me. Now that Hitmonlee's HP is in the red, I use Pin Missile to preserve power points and knock it out. Next is the second Onix, and of course one shot with Mega Drain, healing back my HP, but not quite to full, which I thought is weird. And Bruno's last Pokemon, his ace, his very own Machamp. Not knowing if Beedrill would do any damage, I decided to switch to Gengar. Not only Gengar is immune, but I also taught it Psychic. And with Psychic, I one-shot, defeating the second member, Bruno. Third Elite Four member is Agatha and her Ghost type Pokemons. However, she's more like a Poison type trainer. I lead with Cloyster, and she leads with her very own Gengar. Huh, while writing the script, I realized my team is a bit of a showcase of the Elite Four Pokemons. I don't remember exactly why I lead with Cloyster, but it was probably because I wanted to see how much it could do. I don't know. Anyway, somehow a Cloyster outspeeds a Gengar, and Ice Beam does half HP as it went for Nightshade, so now the Ice Beam knocks out her Gengar. Next is Golbat. I don't think Golbat is able to do a lot to Cloyster, so I decided to Badge Boost with Withdraw. Yeah, Wing Attack did nothing, so second Withdraw, but uh-oh, Confuse Ray. Okay, I'm confused and darn, I hit myself. And it goes for Wing Attack. Good. Nice, next turn snap out of Confusion and get my third Withdraw. Oh no. Golbat and use Haze. If I'm not mistaken, Haze not only removes the normal stat boost, but also the badge boost. This annoyed me, so screw it. I went straight to attacking and one shot with Ice Beam. Next is Haunter. No more boosting, just straight attacking. I went for Surf, and come on, Confuse Ray? A second Surf should knock out Haunter, but yep. Of course I hit myself in Confusion, and of course it lands Hypnosis. Ugh. To be completely safe, I used Full Restore to heal and remove Sleep, and thank god I did because Haunter went for Dream Bear. Yeah, not this time Agatha. I'm still confused though. But does Surf hit? No it doesn't. Come on, hit! Wow, I hit myself 3 times in a row, and she switches to Arbok. Okay, I really want to get this over with, so I'm gonna Badge Boost now. Yes, Snap Back Confusion, 1 withdraw. 2 withdrawals. 3 withdrawals. Ooh, Screech. I also get more Badge Boost, even from lowering. 4 withdrawals. Yay, Screech again. 5 withdrawals. Now I'm +1 defense after the Screeches. Oh no, Agatha switches back to Haunter. I'm not risking any more stalls, so I go straight for a Surf to one-shot, as I should, with 7 Badge Boost. Here comes back Arbok, and with 7 Badge Boosts, I'm just gonna attack with Surf to also one-shot. And Agatha's last Pokemon, Ace, another Gengar. Surf should one-shot. Oh no, it doesn't. But Retroactive Super Potion, yes! One more Surf, and with that, I have defeated third member Agatha. My goodness, it really didn't have to be this long. Fourth and last Elite Four member, Lance, and his Dragon-type Pokemons. Same as Lolai and Agatha, Lance also suffers from Second-type syndrome, where their specialized type is not their common primary type. And for Lance, he's more like a flying-type trainer. I lead with Gengar, and he leads with Gyarados. Gengar of course has Thunderbolt, so it one-shots Gyarados. Next is Dragonair. To save some power points for stronger Pokemons, I use Hypnosis, and it does connect, putting Dragonair to sleep. And hit it with Dream Eater, but with my luck, Dragonair wakes up. Not wanting to waste more time, with 2 turns, I just use Psychic and knock out Dragonair. Now his second Dragonair comes out and I use Psychic on it. Not one-shotting, but it drops a special. Dragonair can't do anything to Gengar, so I select Thunderbolt for power points, knocking Dragonair out. Next comes out his Aerodactyl, who takes 1 Thunderbolt and faints. Lance's last Pokemon, Ace Dragonite. If I hadn't lost my starter Pokemon Dratini, I think my whole team would have been an Elite Four team, but that's not the case. So I could switch to Cloyster to deal Ice move, but I want to see how much Thunderbolt does to Dragonite. Looks like about a third, and ooh, it became paralyzed. And because of that, it didn't get a chance to attack. Let's see how much Psychic does. Wow. Doesn't get knocked out, surviving with 1 HP. I do get Dragonite Special to drop, but Retroactive Hyper Potion, that's fine I guess. This poor Dragonite has received both secondary effects from my moves, crippling it badly. I use Psychic, which did half HP, which means 1 more Psychic should knock out Dragonite, thus defeating 4th member Lance. It's not done yet. There's one more battle I have to do before I can be in the Hall of Fame. One more to prove myself my hard work is worth something. And there's no better way to defeat the person who gave me such a stressful time. No other than my rival. Time to beat him once and for all, and claim my position of champion of the Kanto region. I lead with Cloyster and he leads with Pidgeot. I don't think Pidgeot could do anything to me, so let's get badge boosts and hopefully, with enough boost, I can sweep his entire team. 1 withdraw. His Whirlwind does nothing. 2 withdraws. Agility, so I'm still full health. 3 withdraws. Okay, Pidgeot is faster than Cloyster now, but it went for Whirlwind again. 4 withdraws. Another Agility for them? Fine by me. 5 withdraws for me. Okay, Mirror Move. I'm still full HP, and now 6 withdraws. I'm plus 6 defense and 6 badge boost. Oops, I pressed too fast and selected withdraw again, but it's okay. It went for a wing attack. So now I select Ice Beam while Pidgeot Mirror Moves, again withdraw and one shot. Yes. Next is a scary Alakazam. Thankfully I outspeed. Because Alakazam has low base defense, will Spike Cannon be enough? Oh yes, 1 hit does a third of his HP, so do I get 3? Yes, I do! And now there's nothing for me to worry about. That should be game! Oh wait, I leveled up. Oh, my badge boost is gone, and I can't get any more because I'm already plus 6 on defense. We'll see. Revel sends out Rhydon. Okay, no worries, a single Surf should knock it out, and it does. Next is Gyarados. Ice Beam and Surf should not do too much, so let's see how much Spike Cannon will do. It does nothing. But at least I get 5 hits. And it goes for Happy Beam, which should do very little closer. Oh my goodness, it really does do like no damage. Let's try and see how much Ice Beam would do. About a quarter, which would be more reliable than Spike Cannon, so one more Ice Beam will knock out his Gyarados. Next is Arcanine, and a Surf should one-shot. Don't really know how I outspeed Arcanine, but okay. Yes, it is a one-shot. And finally, his last Pokemon, his ace, Blastoise. This might be a drawn-out battle because I don't want to switch Pokemons just yet, but it looks like Blastoise can only go for Skull Bash, which is a 2-turn move. Surf looks like it's only doing a fifth of its HP. Let's try Ice Beam, and that also does a fifth of its HP. Skull Bash does a little damage, nothing to worry about. So let's see how much Spike Cannon does. Darn, only 2 hits, but it's not in range for Surf or Ice Beam to finish it off. Not much else I can do, so I just go for Ice Beam, which I for some reason thought it would be enough, but I guess not. One more move, I select Surf. And with the crit to set in stone, knocking out Blastoise, defeating my rival and thus making me the new champion. I'm gonna let the rest of the footage play out as I close. A few things I want to share my opinion about. I had so much wrong going on, such as allowing so many Pokemon to faint where they didn't have to. What I forgot to use were my rare candies. I think I was just in autopilot while training that I forgot about the rare candies. And then what I forgot about to bring with me were the elixirs and ethers, but it looked like I didn't really need it. I know I only use half my team, but that just proves that if I really wanted to, I could solo with Gengar and how overpowered it is in Gen 1. I tried to keep the rules simple, mainly for myself. Knowing how procrastinating I can be, if I made the challenge in a sense hardcore, I probably would have never been able to make this video, let alone completing it. I'll go over the rules again if you somehow watched this far and not remembered exactly. You have the 3 obligated rules. 1. Once a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead for the rest of the run. 2. Only catch the first Pokemon you encounter in each map. If knocked out, you lose that chance. And 3. Nickname your Pokemon. Other than those 3 rules, I played the game as usual, such as Badge Boost Glitch, allow duplicates because there is very little unique encounters as it being the first generation Pokemon game, and allow the use of items during battles. And only a couple additional rules I gave to myself. To make the challenge unique, therefore the name Dewlocke is 3 random starters that has 3 stage evolutions, and no hacking rare candies. It ruins the genuineness of the experience if you theoretically only played on a cartridge. My opinion. Enjoy the game however you like. I do plan on doing this Dewlocke challenge on all Pokemon games that if I'm able to, because I don't know how to mod where I can play Pokemon games after the DS launch, but that would be for the future Dewey. But for now, this video took me so long to edit because what took me the longest is writing the script. I had no idea it would take me this long. I'm not good at on-the-spot voiceovers, but hey, who knows, maybe if I do more of these, I could improvise some voiceovers. Depending on the feedback I get from this video, I might do more challenge videos, but for now, I think I'll try some shorter footage content. I could stream if you guys are interested in watching, but I can't afford to stream without a stable income. Overall, I truly enjoyed playing Pokemon. I grew up playing Pokemon since its release in North America, so going back to play this game was a lot of fun for me. I really would like to make more Pokemon content, but as of making this video, nothing is worth enough to justify me spending this amount of time to put together more videos, except purely for my own entertainment. So with that being said, I want to say a big thank you for you to have watched to the very end, and I truly appreciate it because I put a lot of time into making this video, even though there weren't many edits. God bless you, God loves you, I'll see you on the next.